Hello, this is your host Lakota Ravoc, and welcome back to the world of Enshrouded. I'm sitting here with my friend Cyrus in the glorious morning rain to come and tell you that we're going to be doing something a little different today. We're going to build a castle, and we're going to build a standard medieval castle like you see in the pictures right here. Before we do that, we're going to make sure we get prepared, so let's go inside. So before we start our medieval castle, we want to make sure we're prepared. Like always, we want to have our scrappy rake, make sure we got our trusted steel pickaxe and steel axe in case we need to do some clearing, our construction hammer, our flame altar, a magic chest to make sure we can just put everything we need down, at least 16 shroud cores, and a ton, and I do mean a ton of construction blocks. I know I don't have nearly enough for what I'm going to be doing today, because this is going to take a while to build, but this is a good start. I've got an idea of what I'm going to do, but I'm not much of a designer, so you're going to have to bear with me. It's going to be very, very simple, kind of like a build that you could do if you wanted to make a permanent house. Now, it's not going to be just any ordinary castle, though. I mean, it is a standard medieval castle, but there's one major difference. We're going to make a castle in the sky. It's not technically a castle in the sky. It will be a floating castle. But we're going to take this large island here above the shroud. We're basically going to cut off the bottom. We're going to level out the terrain. And we're going to build a castle in this area. So before we got started, we got all of our tools. We got all of our blocks. But I also prepped ahead of time with some other things. I got some armor that is stamina based. So I built the Trailblazer's chest, which gives me an extra 60 stamina. The Alpine Antler trousers, which gives me an extra 22 stamina, and the Alpine Antler boots, which give me an extra 5 stamina regeneration and minus 350 stamina regeneration delay. So this should help increase my stamina regeneration and also improve my amount of stamina that I already have. So these 3 items were made at the Hunter. These are all endgame armor pieces. I took some time after the last Enshrouded video, and I went to the Albanese summits. I completed a bunch of missions up there and unlocked a bunch of stuff, including the final boss, which I finished up here at Howling Peak. So because of that, I was able to get silver and a bunch of other items, which allowed me to make endgame armor. And that endgame armor is what I have on me now, as well as these exceptional rings of stamina, which give me an extra 6 stamina and plus 5 stamina regeneration. I've got a very, very high stamina right now. I currently have a stamina cap of 754 points. I believe the maximum is 800, so I only need to drink like 1 thing of tea for 5 endurance to get me that extra 50 points I need to cap out. My stamina regeneration is 63 points a second, so in approximately 11 to 12 seconds, I'll have fully regenerated my stamina back. And my stamina regeneration delay is 0.15 seconds, which is basically 1/6 to 1/7 of a second for my stamina to stop and start regenerating again. Pretty much instantly regenerate my stamina. So I'll be able to do a lot of work without having to stop too much. So this build location I found is in the Umber Hollow, near the trade outpost Blazing Rock, just east of the Pillars of Creation. It's a very large mass of land. If you're doing some of the missions, you'll probably end up at this Conway camp just underneath it, so you'll be able to find it very easily. So I'm going to try and place that flame altar pretty much smack dab in the center so I can encompass the whole thing. I'm going to try and end up right here where this waypoint is. Should be about the right distance. So let's go ahead and destroy this flame altar. Deactivate. Bring up one of our slots. Let's go down, clean house, and place down that altar. All right, that's all the enemies dead. Go ahead and drop this altar. So you can see I got to the waypoint, and that little dimple to my left is a marker that I made with the pickaxe. So I'm right on the money. Okay, let's go ahead and place this flame altar right about here. Boom. Now we're going to commune with the flame, and we're going to upgrade the altar 3 times. We're going to go to level 2 with 1 shroud core, level 3 with a level 2 flame and 5 shroud core, and level 4 with a level 3 flame and 10 shroud core. That's the maximum we can go. So an altar level 4, which is supposed to give us a 160 meter cubed building area. That means you get 160 meters side to side, front and back, and up and down. So there is a lot of space to work with. As a representation, this block right here is a 1 meter cube block. It's a lot of room. But currently, I am 80 meters up from my flame altar. I used a bunch of roof tiles to get up here. As you can see, that's the line at the top of my build area. Will not let me build any higher than that. And you can see all the way at the bottom of my screen, just underneath me, that's my flame altar. I'm about 20 roof tiles above that. It's huge. It's a lot of space to work with. So if you're interested in building, you have a lot of room. There's a lot of leeway. Regardless, I'm going to destroy all this, go back down to the ground. So my first main task is going to be clearing out all the foliage. Then we're going to level out the top of this, cut off the bottom, using some magic tricks with the rake tool. Maybe even expand the width of this. And I'll show you a couple of tricks with the rake for that if you ever want to do something like that with your play. And then we're going to start building walls and other things and kind of flesh out the area. Again, this is a simple build. It's going to be a standard medieval castle. Not like your fantasy castles like Hogwarts or Dracula's castle. Not that grandiose. It's very simple, basic. It's going to have walls, parapets, guard station, probably a small farm, housing for all the villagers. And I have a lot of villagers. And it's going to have some craft areas. And then a final main keep, which will probably be up on this hill. I might keep this back hill that we have here just for the main keep and give it a little texture. But besides that, I'm going to start leveling this out and then we'll get back to you. We'll see you in a little bit. At this time, I just want to thank you for coming down and watching. Please make sure that you comment, leave a like, and please make sure you subscribe to my channel for future content. I greatly appreciate it. It'll help me, and it might help you with a little entertainment. So I've got a little piece of terrain that I can't pickaxe here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little piece of terrain, and that way I can then carve it out using the pickaxe. It's just a little trick you can do so that way you can get rid of something you can't pickaxe. So what we're going to do now is take our trusty scrappy rake and we're going to bisect this whole pillar so that we get that floating island that we were talking about. Now I'm going to start here right above the shroud line and we're going to cut it up. And you can see with the rake, we can just go right through real easy. And it should give us enough room that we'll be able to walk underneath it. We'll probably have to take some spots and use our pickaxe and break them up. But we'll clear out this whole thing. And then we'll show what it looks like at the end. So I'll see you guys in a little bit.
3 hours later.
Okay, so this is the last little bit. It seriously took about 3 hours to cut this entire pillar from the base. But that's it. There it is. We've got the whole thing cut. As you can see, looking around, you can see light from everywhere. Just going to get a last little bit here. Yeah, look at that. The light coming in from everywhere. So I only did one layer. It took me, again, about 3 hours to just cut off this one layer. So I might go down and take off some more later when I'm not recording and just make it look more like a floating island. Because right now, if you were to look at it from a distance, it would still look like it's connected. And I wanted to give it that floating island appearance. Basically like I have a castle in the sky like I was talking about. But yeah, this shows you the awesome power of the rake and how it is still the most powerful tool in the game. I wouldn't have been able to do this without it. Well, not true. You can do this with blocks and other things that will totally delete the area, but honestly, I think that would be more time than if I were to do it with the rake. Next, we'll go ahead and build the castle part of it, and we'll do little bits here and there, and we'll show you what that looks like. So as you can see, I've got a basic layout of the walls. And there's the front gate there. And it goes around, and I've got most of it done, except for one little section. Because of this, I've halted. Mainly because I can't stand that. And you can't do 45 degrees in this game with walls. Hopefully something that will change in the future. So what we're going to do is a little trick. We're going to grab some limestone from when we were cutting down all that mesa earlier. What we're going to do is we're going to extend this little corner right here and make it so that we can make a nicer wall than this little diagonal mishmash that we have here. What we're going to do is go down all the way to the terrain tab and go down to that 3-meter disc. What we're going to do is we're going to make it extend down a little bit farther using the Q key and the mouse wheel so that it's about halfway down. See how it kind of goes into the side there, but it's not level with the terrain like it is up here. So as far down as we can get, I'm going to pop one there. And we're going to keep extending that by matching that height as close as possible. And don't worry, this only uses one piece of limestone or whatever resource you have. And what this does is it creates terrain for you where there was none. And this is handy when you're doing something that's in the air like this, because this gives you a flat surface to work with and gives you that nice little overhang that you wouldn't normally get. So try and maximize the size of the disc as much as possible. As you can see, if there's a little gap, it will fill it in if you can. But don't be afraid to use the resources that you've already collected. All right, so we made a nice big surface that's going to give us a good corner to the wall. We'll be able to just change all that. Now we go back to our super powerful item, the rake. Just go to the height above it. Start extending it out. This way you can use a terrain surface underneath that is not the terrain that you want to have. So like I'm using the topsoil here to create a better texture, better layer to the top of this. So wherever you put the limestone or whatever resource you're using, that's where you'll be able to bring your soil up from. And there you have it. Newly created land from little bits of extra that you have. Now, there are other little tricks we can do, like terrain duplication, stuff like that. But this is an easy way if you have some spare terrain that you're not really using to extend the existing terrain that you have so that you can make the area space a little bit larger and to fit what you're doing. So I'm going to continue building this wall, bring it around this corner so it's nice and even. And then I'm going to continue on. I'll check back with you a little bit later.
Much later.
All right, after about 12 hours, I've gotten the walls the way I want them with guard stations, a guard barrack, and I made a little decoration for our flame altar. So why don't we take a quick look at those? So here's our guard barracks. We've got a table with seating for 6. Nice little fireplace. They have their own latrine and wash station. We've got a couple of people in here, stairs up, and some basic beds. Our main gate is 5 stories tall because I had to do it. One main reason is because these portcullis gates, they are really tall. Cool thing is they go up on their own, so I was able to encase them so that it hid most of them. The downfall is that they go really high, so I had to make the gate tower really tall. And a quick tour inside. We go in, we have some staircases going up. We have exits to the wall, and the wall goes all the way around. I fixed up the wall so now it's a square instead of this mishmash of corners. On the next level, there's a little passage that goes by the portcullis. As you can see here, there's the one I just opened. And this is the one that's closed. So that's the height that they get to. That's the 4th story, by the way. So the 2 main towers are connected. And there's an upper wall that has a catwalk.
Hi.
As you can see all the way around the wall, they have these little nodules to just give it a little detail. I will be adding some lighting in this. Now each guard station goes all the way to the ground and has someone inside of it. Each one of the people here are just the general villagers. They do nothing but stand there. Halfway down 3 of the walls, I have little guard posts that just sit there to look out. You see there's a heck of a view here. It's amazing. And unfortunately, because of the distance, I had to put some beds in the guard posts. I may have to fix the walls underneath to make these beds hidden. Now, I had to do a little terrain manipulation to make this work. So I added some terrain block and brought it up. And then I used the rake in a vertical position like this. And I was able to bring the rock from the ground up and go vertical with it. So that's another little trick. If you need to make like a cliffside, take your hammer, put down some terrain blocks, and then from the bottom up, go vertical with it and just go across. And it'll build out a wall. And that way you have terrain that will match what you're trying to do. So I had to build out this whole section just so the walls would sit on something and make it look a little more decent. And it looks like it's been carved out, which is kind of nice. I also attached this little thing here for detail. And each guard tower, being 5 stories tall, has windows looking out around the area. Now, normally this is where you would put a drawbridge that would come up and close, and when it came down, it would go over a moat, and those guard towers would have the chains housed in them. Unfortunately, I don't have that capability here. I can't make a moat, and there's no drawbridge. So the best I could do is maybe fabricate just a wooden plank going across, but it's kind of pointless considering we're in the sky. So I just didn't even worry about doing it. We don't need a moat because no one's actually going to be invading us. Now, if this game actually had raids, enemy raids, I would totally make this a defensive structure. That would actually make the game really interesting. But I'm going to end this video here for today. I'm going to keep on building. I'm going to add some more structures and explain them as I go, but we're going to make this a two-part video because this is taking a long time to build. So thank you for coming down. I really appreciate you. Please make sure you come back for more. Make sure you subscribe, like, and comment on the video, and we'll see you on the next one. This is Lakota Ravoc signing out. Y'all have a good day. Bye-bye. What was that? You're welcome, buddy.